What's up, curious youngsters? Despite watching countless documentaries, television shows, and online media for years, some things never fail to amaze us. Perhaps it's because we are more than 7 billion people, and with immediate access to the internet, we can come across literally anything at any time. From satisfying videos you've never seen to images of nature with surprising explanations behind them. Mr. Curiosity is there to show you new things, even when you think you've seen it all. Due to these reasons and more, you will witness 20 unprecedented things in your lifetime. 1. Animals, just like people, have a certain shape and presentation that they usually respect throughout generations. But occasionally, nature gets bored and decides to make changes in certain species. A rare zebra was photographed a few years ago in Kenya's Masai Mara Nature Reserve. Instead of having the classic pattern of white and black stripes, it had a pattern of white spots on a dark coat. No, it's not another species or a crossbreed result, but a zebra foal with melanism, the opposite of albinism, causing a darker than normal coat. Underwater, we encounter the strangest species, and while in some other video we were surprised by fish that walked on the seafloor, now we come across the Uranoscopidae. These fish, with their horrifying appearance, have more than just ugly eyes and teeth. They also have the habit of waiting for prey while semi-buried in the sandy bottom. While they stick out their curious tongue, yes, that's their tongue, which simulates being a worm, attracting small fish and other animals to their mouth. Furthermore, behind their fins, they possess venomous spines, which they employ to deter predators when necessary. What an ugly thing, ma'am. Nature 3. People discovered in sports one of the best ways to entertain themselves and pass the time. Even though most of us watch sports like football, basketball, or tennis occasionally, I'm sure you've never seen a juggling competition in your life. The World Juggling Federation had the brilliant idea to take juggling from circuses and shows to the big screen. With this competition, the participants have a series of games where they can freely show their skills, or they have to face other rivals in a super intense juggling battle. 4. As we know, even though nature is always hiding certain animals from us, if we really want to be amazed, we have to dive into the underwater world, where we encounter unique animals and phenomena every day. In this case, we are looking at a curious cuttlefish. These mollusks, similar to squids, became known on the internet for their satisfying and mesmerizing movements as they change color and camouflage into the environment. And they achieve this incredible behavior with pigmented cells known as Chromatophores 5. For years, we people have been investigating our past and the origin of everything. And in addition to encountering civilizations, buildings, mummies, and many other things, surely you had never heard about prehistoric water. Remarkably, some stones or minerals have managed to store water inside them for millions of years. Most of these are known as agates and were found in Brazil. It is believed that water became trapped inside bubbles formed with various gases. Don't you dare take that, Timmy 6. When envisioning the future, drones, robots, and artificial intelligence are becoming more prominent, and some of the things that seemed impossible years ago we can see today thanks to drones. This satisfying aerial choreography is by Firefly Drone Shows. And yes, obviously these aerial shows are not very cheap, but oh well. Orchestrating hundreds of drones in the air with a program that synchronizes their lights and movements is quite complex. 7. Birds would seem to have an advantage over their predators as they can calmly fly away. But the problem is that most of the attacks that birds suffer occur when they are eggs or chicks. In this intriguing video, a bald eagle defends its nest against a fox. Yes, and it's not that the fox has wings and was able to fly to the top of a tree, but that this video was captured on a cliff on Catalina Island near California. Since many of the nests, instead of being on top of a tree, are usually built on the edges of cliffs. 8. When we watch videos of large animals eating, perhaps some may wonder if they find it disgusting to eat certain parts of their prey. Although, well, then we think that only humans seem to have certain taste and it passes us by. But then we come across this very curious video that leaves us speechless. This frog, enjoying the day, will have an interesting episode when a slightly large beetle approaches. The food seemed good, but after tasting and not enjoying it, she's going to throw it away. How delicate. Mrs. Frog 9. The airplane is undoubtedly one of the most remarkable inventions of recent centuries. These incredible beasts fly thousands of meters high, effortlessly, thanks to their powerful engines and great aerodynamics. But even though you've surely seen the classic water vapor trails left in the sky after a plane passes by at some point in your life, you've probably never seen a rainbow trail. An Australian man with a large camera managed to capture the passage of a huge Qatar Airways plane as it was forming this colorful trail in its wake. 10. The world is divided into two large hemispheres, and when one half enjoys summer, the other part is in a freezing climate. And depending on the location and altitude, some countries have huge snow-covered mountains or massive glaciers that can be climbed. But some people with enough skill prefer to use these glaciers as ski slopes, and in this case we find two professional skiers who take a quite intense ride on a glacier set in the Alps. Unless you live near an airport, I don't think you'll see many planes flying close to the ground. If you visit Brisbane, Australia in early July, you might be a bit scared if you're lucky. Meanwhile, a huge Boeing C-17 flies low over the Australian city at less than 100 meters high. This huge military transport plane is part of the large fleet that flies over the city every year as part of the annual air show. Watch out for the buildings, pilot. So, do we want to see animals in the wild? One of the most well-known destinations is Africa, where one can tour the savannah in a van while enjoying a completely natural safari. But even though many of us have seen videos and photos of animals from afar, surely few have seen the reaction of these animals to a camera up close. Photographer Chris Brine had the idea to create a remote-controlled GoPro camera to capture close-up shots of various species during his safari. Interestingly, while some animals like the shy rhinoceroses reacted fearfully, others like the lions surprisingly played 13. If you've ever been lucky enough to go diving, you'll know it's one of the most interesting experiences a person can have in their lifetime. Although we also know that while the ocean can be very satisfying and relaxing for some people, it can be somewhat intimidating for others. And imagine diving in the dark and coming across this. More than one would swim on the surface and quickly leave the place. But it's really not meant to scare you. Or, well, maybe it is. This is a huge sack of squid eggs which had been found in the depths of the Norwegian coast. 14. Among the millions of animal species we know that some are cuter and more adorable than others. But if there's one thing we all agree on, it's that when they're young or newborn, all animals look much cuter. This is Elsa, a weeks-old koala joey adopted by zoologists at the Wildlife Centre in New South Wales, in Australia. The abandoned marsupial, weighing only 14 ounces, had been left by its mother who couldn't feed it. Oh, how cute Quince is. Some animals are smarter than others, and with a bit of training, you can get them to do many things. But while many of us think about teaching a dog to sit or give us its paw, I'm sure few have thought about teaching a dolphin to detect underwater mines. The United States, within its military programs, has a program to detect explosives through different marine mammals, and in this case, we see a dolphin performing a practice exercise. Sharks are among the most feared animals worldwide, despite killing fewer than 10 people annually. Their dangerous teeth have earned them a bad reputation. However, we know that in places like the Maldives, one can pay for an excursion with dozens of manta rays and sharks safely. At least that's how they're marketed. In this curious video, we find a tourist floating in the ocean while dozens of nurse sharks swim beneath her. It may seem crazy, but this species is not typically aggressive, and they are relatively small and slow. 17. Many people tend to behave badly and do not comply with traffic rules. In Sydney, Australia, a major issue arose with a tunnel, as vehicles often failed to stop before entering it, even when the light signs indicated it. So a company called Laser Vision had the great idea to install these light signs. Drivers are now forced to see signs produced with light and a constant fall of water. If they fail to stop, It won't harm them since it's just water. A good invention by Australians 18. Food plays a fundamental role in people's lives. Every time we wake up and for a large part of our day, we are thinking about what we are going to eat next. Although many people are fascinated by sweets, it's important to maintain a balanced diet. But, well, sometimes it's very hard to resist a cake as satisfying as this jiggle cake. Named for its incredible flabbiness and fluffiness, this Japanese cheesecake recipe manages to leave more than one internet viewer in awe when we see how perfect it is to mold and cut it. But, well, let's continue with the video. In order for animals to live, they need to eat, drink, and sleep. While koalas can sleep up to 20 hours a day, giraffes and elephants usually don't sleep more than 2 hours at a time. Notably curious is observing how sea turtles sleep. This sleepy turtle was recorded while it was peacefully sleeping on a coral reef. These attractive animals, having the need to breathe on the surface, can't sleep for 8 hours like humans, but they usually take naps between 3 and 4 hours. 20. Although nature is perfect, sometimes accidents happen and some people or some animals are born with malformations. And in this curious video, we meet Ray, a kitten who was born blind and managed to fully develop his other senses. The owner now plays with the cat by throwing a noisy ball made from a plastic package, which the cat enjoys playing with. Before I go, let me say hello to a few subscribers. First of all, a big hello to Hit Boy, another hello to Sonia Mercedes Vasquez, then another hello to Gladu of the Future, and another little hello to Fausto Carrion. Lastly, I send a big hello to Robbie Alcaire. Another hello to Angel Gomez Diaz. The last greeting goes to the Face Mob team. Now yes, leave your comment everything, probably everything you want. Do not forget to share the channel and video with your friends. More kisses. And Mr. Curiosity, remember to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss any new videos. I'm Mr. Curiosity.